Yo, yo, yo. Hey, everyone. What is happening? Welcome to another edition of Wisdom from the Recliner. This is volume 45, and tonight I've hashtagged four things. Travel eating, because many people were asking about how we eat when we travel, especially since we just got back from a week celebrating my cancer freedom at Disney World in Orlando, Florida. I want to also talk about the subject of what we are hearing in our environments matters and how that forms our belief, which forms our life. I want to talk about why I believe freedom is the thing that we should all be seeking and pursuing and why it matters the most. And I want to talk about circumstances and something that I was sharing with a lady and a friend of mine in the IV room at Dr. Taylor's here in Tulsa. So go ahead and let me know where you're listening in from or viewing from. You can put your country, your city, your state, all the above. But I'd love to know who's on and where you're from and where you're tuning in tonight. It's always great to be connected with all of you. And if you do want to post some questions, depending on how quickly I'm able to get through these four areas that I want to cover tonight, I'll be happy to try to dive in and go through the thread and answer some questions. So, dang, I don't know if you guys can see this here. Let me zoom in. I got some type of a pimple or something right there on my forehead. So just in case you guys didn't see it, I thought I'd make it a little more obvious. Oh man, it's a beautiful thing when you become okay with your imperfections and you can just be who you are and be cool with being human, and you can get your life back by not being wound up so tight about looking a certain way, being a certain way, doing a certain thing, living in a certain place, or whatever else you can drum up. Just be you and put it out there to the world, the universe, and to all people, and see what comes back, and live with it, and love yourself no matter what, man. Yes, Mark Mays, it's probably a detox pimple, because I had a couple of unhealthy meals at Disney World. Yes, I did. But anyway, oh wow, that's awesome. Janine says, my brother was stage 4 follicular B-cell non-Hodgkin's lymphoma and he's 12 years cancer-free. That is amazing. Man, I got to meet him someday. Tell him to reach out to me sometime. I'd love to say hello. That's awesome. And hear his story. Congratulations to him, and I look forward to being able to say the same thing 11 years from now. So that is incredible. Anyway, so a lot of people were asking us, how do we eat when we travel? And I've been trying to think about how to lay this out. So number one, I think the first thing I would say is we do our best to eat basically the same way. We still follow the same principles. We still eat lots of fruit. And we're still looking to eat as much of a raw plant-based diet as humanly possible as we can. One of the benefits of a high fruit diet, of eating a lot of fruit, is it seems to be one of the things that's easily accessible. You can get fruit even in the airports. You can take fruit on the airplanes. It's easy to pack up. We took it into the Disney parks with us. We could run over to Target or to Whole Foods at night and stock up for the next day. Or on our off day, our rest day, on Wednesday last week, between our 4 days of parks, we just bought a bunch more fruit. I think one day we took in, I think we counted like 20 bananas. And usually, just about every day at the park, at least until noon, sometimes even 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we had went through a bag of oranges as a family. We'd all eaten several bananas. One day I had 6 or 7 or 8 bananas. We were drinking tons of water that we had purchased, and we would bring in tons and tons of bottles of water. We didn't even buy a food plan, which I'm so glad. What's so cool about being able to eat and live and function well is that you can you save money too. Like we estimated, we saved $50 to $75 a day by just basically eating fruit and drinking water throughout the day. Once we ate all the fruit, then we'd let the kids have some of our some of our organic, more healthier choice. It's still not healthy, okay? It's processed food. I'm not trying to live in denial here, but we did let our kids have some processed snacks, things that we had purchased like at Whole Foods or whatever, but they would still be the better of the bad choices, if you will. But we just asked our kids to eat all fruit, and then once the fruit was gone, then we would allow them to have that. Now, I will tell you that there was a couple of evenings that we ended up just eating food at Disney World, and it was unhealthy, whether it was burgers or fries or chicken fingers or pizza or what other garbage they had there. I'm just shooting you straight, being honest. And there's no real explanation for it. I'm just telling you what we did. But for the most part, I would say about 75 to 80% of the time, I just ate fruit and drank water. And a lot of times we made a smoothie before we left out for the day, or we had a smoothie when we got home if it wasn't our real late day. And then definitely on our off days, we also made smoothies and drank some Cali tea back at our cabin. But I really think for traveling, fruit is an answer. It's a simple way. You can eat a ton of fruit. It's easily accessible. It's kind of like a fast food. You can take it with you. And then drink tons and tons of water. It's not going to hurt if it's a short trip or if it's for a day. Most people could easily make it on fruit and water for 24 hours. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, I just wanted to let you guys know that I think that's kind of my answer. That's what we do. But I think we also give ourselves mercy and grace, and we're okay with the fact that it's planet Earth. There's a lot of factors. We're human, and we did eat some unhealthy food, but we just remained happy. We loved ourselves even though we were doing that, and we know that that's not our long-term lifestyle. And we also just jumped right back into a full-fledged regular lifestyle of healthy eating of fruits and veggies and our smoothies and our Cali tea and everything we do as soon as we got home. In fact, the first thing we did, we asked our kids to go on a 24-hour, on Sunday, they had to eat fruit only, fruit or fruit smoothies. And we just said, hey, that's all we're having. It was detox day. Caroline and I did a 24-hour fast of clean water and Cali tea. We just detoxed it out. And we don't have any desire to eat crap food or unhealthy food on a regular basis. But we're not going to flip out just because where we're at in the journey. You know, maybe there'll be a day in the future where we can go on trips and completely not cave in or not eat or not choose to put anything in our body other than just fresh fruit and vegetables or drink clean water. We did find an incredible fully vegan sandwich that was phenomenal. And we did also one time purchase they had celery and carrots with hummus at one of the parks. So that was awesome. But I just think the thing that I'm finding for travel and trips is fruit. Man, if you get used to eating a lot of fruit, then you can just, take it with you and eat it. Plus, listen to this, guys. Is this amazing? Okay. So, you guys saw all the pictures. You know how bad I was. You know the fluid problem. You know how weak I was. I couldn't even pick up my kids. I couldn't hold them. I couldn't even go to my son's basketball game. Most of you have been on this journey. If you haven't, check out my timeline. Go way back. Look at the pictures on my profile. Read our blog. But anyway, guys, I estimated that I walked 40 miles this last week, and I feel great. I am so happy with the physical activity that I was able to do on our celebration trip. It was awesome, and I'm so thankful and so excited about the continued healing process and this lifestyle change. And I love that I'm secure and that I can just be honest with you guys and not have to make up some story or try to act like we live perfect or that we do it all right. I just wish more and more people could just be honest and be cool with being human and quit trying to put up a front or impress anyone. What I want to impress upon all of us is that perfectionism is an ideal that doesn't exist on planet Earth. No one is perfect. There is no perfect life. And I get real leery and a red flag goes up when anyone is trying to act like they do anything perfectly. It just doesn't exist. So, but we can be perfect in Christ because of His grace and because of what He did for us on the cross. So that's what's so awesome, is our identity is secure, but our behavior can fluctuate, and sometimes we forget who we are, and sometimes our emotions get the best of us, and sometimes things come at us and we don't handle them in the best way possible. But we can just renew our minds and reset ourselves to the truth and remember who we are and just say, you know what, I am not identified by my behavior. I'm not identified by a mistake. I'm not identified by the fact that I ate some unhealthy food. Who I am is I love myself, and I'm a healthy eater, and I make great choices. And so I don't have to condemn myself or be under the all or nothing syndrome, that so many of us have. Like, if I can't do it perfectly all the time, then I'm going to do nothing and I'll just throw in the towel and say, forget this, I'll just eat crap food all the time. No, that's not it at all, right? Just say, hey, I chose to eat some crap food, or I chose to eat unhealthy at lunchtime, but I now remember who I am, and I know I want to move on from that, so I'm going to eat healthy at dinner. There's no reason to compound one mistake with another mistake, right? And live like a fool. So anyway, hopefully that answers your questions. But I would lean towards more fruit and more clean water for travel tips for eating well. Okay. The second thing I want to talk about tonight is what we hear matters. The Good Book talks about that what we hear is what forms our belief system. So what we're hearing, whatever environments we're in, if we're in environments where we're hearing certain things, whether it be at church, at work, at home, whether we're hearing things from the television, whether we're hearing things on the radio, whether we're hearing things based on stuff we're reading, what we are hearing is forming what we are believing. And what we are believing is leading to the choices and decisions that we are making, and it's leading to our life. So many of you might say tonight, hey Ryan, you know what? I'm learning to be okay. I'm learning to live in grace. I'm learning to embrace the messiness of the planet Earth system. I'm starting to become more comfortable with being human, but I still want to see some things change in my life. Look, instead of trying to change yourself or change those things, I believe we need to reevaluate what we're hearing. If we automatically change what we're hearing, over time, the new things we're hearing will form a new belief system, and that new belief system and life philosophy will turn into different decisions and different choices, and that will lead to a different life. I grew up in environments hearing that I was not good enough. I grew up in environments hearing that I had to do all kinds of things for God to be pleased with me. I grew up in environments hearing that there was never enough money. I grew up in environments thinking and being told that I was not good enough unless I did X, Y, Z. And ultimately, as an adult, that sent me into 2 years of depression. I ruined a business that I had thriving at a point where I was earning almost $200,000 a year, and I totally destroyed that and self-sabotaged. I almost lost my marriage. I had a gambling addiction for 10 years. I've lost everything twice. And so, why? Because I had been hearing my whole life things that formed a belief system that made me feel insecure, that made me think I wasn't good enough, that constantly made me chase after money and things because I believed there was not going to be enough. I had a scarcity mindset, so therefore I made decisions and lived out of that scarcity mindset. I did not live out of abundance. And I also constantly thought that God didn't like me or was mad at me. I even at one time thought I was under a curse. I was in environments where I even attended churches, even large churches that many of you would even recognize, where people on their staff even told my wife and I one time that because we filed bankruptcy that we were not in right standing with God and that God would never bless us again financially. And some of you may say, oh, that's crazy. I would never attend a church like that. Most of you that are Christians that go to church are probably going to one that would tell you that right now. You just happen to haven't been in that personal experience because it's subtle. There's so much performance-based teaching in the world and even in religion, Christianity, the church. It's everywhere. There is so much, people are constantly hearing, you're not good enough. You need to do better. You need to perform more. You just, you should be doing this. You shouldn't be doing that. When are you going to get your act together? Why don't you have all your stuff in order? I can't believe you're still struggling. I can't this. Like, it's intertwined into all the messages in so much of what people are hearing. And once I got awakened to that, and once I realized, I literally started removing myself from environments. This might scare some of you, but when I first got introduced to God's unconditional love, when I really found out about the truth about God's character and His grace, I stopped going to church for a really long time because I needed to find answers. I knew that what I had been hearing had created a faulty belief system, and that faulty belief system was not creating a good life for me. And so I had learned that it takes 37 impressions for the subconscious mind to receive something as truth. So I knew I had to immerse myself in new environments and hear new things in order for my heart to be persuaded and my mind to be changed and renewed so that I could believe differently. Therefore, then I could act and live differently, and eventually my life would become differently. And that's exactly what's happened. I learned of Joseph Prince, and I read Destined to Reign. And then I learned of Dr. Jim Richards, and I read Grace, the Power to Change. Then I learned of Connie Witter, BecauseOfJesus.com, and I read Live Loved, Live Free, and I started going to her Bible study and listening to her audios. I met Andrew Farley. I read all his books. I've listened to hundreds of his podcasts, and I immersed myself, and still do to this day. I tuned in to anyone and everyone that I could find that was leading me to freedom. See, folks, if you're not free and you're in bondage to fear, anxiety, performance, lack, I don't care what you're in bondage to, the only way out is to be set free. And the only way to be set free is to hear the truth and to hear something different and to hear freedom and to find out that God's not mad at you, that God's not holding anything against you, that you are loved beyond your wildest imagination, that He likes you, that the Creator of the universe is not a dictator, that the Creator of the universe is totally cool with you, He's in with you, and even though He's not the one behind the circumstances, He will walk through those circumstances with you. And this has been the underlying foundation for why Caroline and I have been able to navigate through the shitstorm of life called our adventure with cancer these last 14 months. It's the truth. So What we hear matters. What we are hearing continually forms what we believe. And I guarantee you, every single human, including me, completely lives, makes choices, makes decisions, and does everything in their life 100% from their belief system. So if you want a different life, you got to have a different belief system. And if you want a different belief system, you got to start hearing something different. You're going to have to seek out something different, something that maybe even scares you, something that you think can't possibly be true when you first hear it, something that maybe makes you uncomfortable. Maybe it's someone you thought that didn't even teach the right things about God or the gospel. Open up your mind, open up your heart, and quit being afraid. Because if you can't even listen to someone to just see if it might be truth, then you're in bondage to the fact that you can't listen to them, which means you're not free, which means you're probably not free in other areas either, and so you're in bondage, and bondage means you're behind bars, you're stuck, you're in some type of a prison, okay? So anyway, I could get rolling on that. So that kind of leads me into the next subject, which is freedom. Folks, if someone asked me today, Ryan, if you could only seek one thing in your entire life, if you could only pursue one thing in this entire existence here on planet Earth, what would it be? And the answer is freedom. You say, it wouldn't be Jesus? Some of you might say, oh, it wouldn't be Jesus? Nope, because if I seek freedom, I bet Jesus will be there. Well, it wouldn't be wisdom? Nope, because when I'm free, wisdom will flow. Oh, you say it wouldn't be whatever? Nope, nope, nope. It's freedom. Freedom. It's all about being free. Are we free in our minds? Are we free in our hearts? Are we free in our being? Or are we constantly analyzing, measuring, self-critical, justifying, being judgmental, putting things down, putting ourselves down, beating ourselves up, condemning, right? All of that is a prison. It is time to live free and live loved. I'm telling you, folks, pursue freedom. Freedom. Where are you not free? If you're addicted to food, you're not free. I was not free. I am becoming free in my health because I am finding life in what to eat, how to live, and a lifestyle that brings energy and vitality and allows me to physically function well. Where do you find freedom? Where do you find it? Well, the truth sets us free. I found it in my identity in who God says I am, in the finished work of Jesus Christ. It is not about behavior. It's not about performance. It's not about do's and don'ts. It's not about right and wrong. It's about the Creator creating the greatest being that ever existed, me and you, humans, and me believing the truth about myself and then being refreshed and reminded and renewed over and over and over. I'm telling you guys, freedom. Pursue freedom. In fact, let me show you this right here. This is my latest book. I just got this one, okay? And then let me get this other one. I ordered that one, and I just got this book too right here. Yeah. It's called Why Haven't You Read This Book Yet? Flipping the Burden of Proof to Open Up a World of Possibility. Yeah, sounds awesome, right? Like, I'm the freest person I know, and I'm still pursuing freedom. I'm still looking for freedom. Just take like 2,000 deep breaths tonight before you go to bed and just tell yourself it's all going to be okay. You're okay. We're okay. Pursue freedom. All right, last subject. If you guys want to start asking some questions, I'll have a few minutes here Let's see. Yeah. Oh, I'm doing well. So, circumstances. I was talking in the IV room today at Dr. Taylor's at Marion Medical here in Tulsa while I was getting my second infusion today. And yes, I am still getting some infusions. I'm going to be going into maintenance mode, but I definitely wanted to get some this week because I was traveling last week, and then we got the Christmas break and holidays coming up, so I just kind of wanted to load up on vitamin C and a few other things while I could. And then I'm going to have a new game plan going forward in January, kind of more of a maintenance and something that will work along with living more and being able to get back to work and doing all the things that, you know, a dad and a husband and a provider would normally be doing. So excited about that. But anyway, I was talking with my friend Beverly Carter, and I was just saying how circumstances come and go in this life. We're all faced with circumstances that are less than desirable at times. We're all faced with circumstances that stink sometimes. We're all faced with circumstances that are not fun or there are uncomfortable. I don't think we should be teaching our children or even thinking ourselves of trying to find ways to avoid those circumstances, because that seems like wasted energy, because a lot of times circumstances are out of our control. What I think we ought to be doing is learning how do we navigate when these circumstances come about in our lives. How do we navigate through them? How do we find ourselves able to still be in a really great place mentally and emotionally in the midst of these tough circumstances? How do we respond? How are we going to react to them? That would be my encouragement, is invest more energy and more time into learning and finding out ways that will serve you well, so that even when you have a tough circumstance, you can still be in a good place emotionally. Even when you have tough things come about in your life, you can respond well. You can navigate through it in a way that leads to life and joy and happiness and peace and love, even in the midst of some really tough stuff. But be human. If it's a really emotional, tough situation, grieve. Don't be afraid to embrace your anger for a while, and then let it go and move on. So my encouragement is not to try to avoid tough circumstances, but to learn how you're going to handle them, how you're going to respond, how you're going to navigate, and to still be in a good place emotionally and mentally. I really believe that has served me well in this journey and this adventure with cancer. I've been looking back over lots and lots of pictures, videos, and things that I posted along the way. And I can just tell you guys, I mean, I was still finding happiness. I was still finding joy. I was still finding love. I was still able to keep a perspective that brought life to me, even on the verge of physical death, even with an 8-month fluid problem that was an absolute nightmare, even with tons and tons of physical pain and issues and missing my oldest son's basketball games for 5 straight months. In the midst of all of that, though, there was still emotional stability. I was still pretty much an even keel for the most part. And I really believe that it helped me a ton. And so I encourage you to seek that out and to find freedom in that area so that you can be free from circumstances making such a negative impact on your mind, your thoughts, your heart, your emotions, and your life. And I hope that as time goes on, I'm able to create resources, produce content, and point you in the direction, as I try to do often, to things that have helped me that might serve you well if you're looking for those resources. I think somebody asked a question. Jeanette Gabbert says, on the grease test, what were your 5 additional supplements you added? I'm getting ready to do the test. I didn't see alpha-lipoic acid on the list. Jeanette, that is a great question. I do not know that answer right off the top of my head, but I will ask Caroline when she gets home here in a little bit. Our youngest boy fell asleep in the van, so I came on home and He's asleep upstairs. I had already eaten my salad and drank my alternative fuel smoothie at Whole Foods. So she's with the two older kids, feeding them and loading us up on produce for the week. And she'll be home here shortly. So Jeanette, I'll find out that answer, and I'll post it underneath your comment. I'll try to do that before I go to bed tonight so that you have that answer, and if other people want to know what it is, they can have it as well. Okay, Corrine says, and keep your questions coming. I'd be glad to answer more of them. Corrine says, what's a good resource for the clean eating? I'm guessing, like maybe a book or something. I mean, I love what my health coach, Steve Factor, taught me. I don't know if I think he actually has an ebook. I'm going to ask him, Corrine, if he does. But I would love for him, if he hasn't already, he needs to put this together. I want him to write down the specifics of eating sugar, salt, and fat in abundance on a daily basis, and then eating fastest carbs first, and how eating in a certain order is optimal for digestion, energy, and health. My wife and I have been basically following that philosophy and eating that way now for 6 months, and it is really working well. So I will tag Steve Factor underneath your comment, let him go into that question a little bit more in depth, and if he's got an ebook, make sure you get that. Okay, next question. Keep your questions coming, guys. Jeremy Wilson, have you ever done a water cleanse? Yeah, I just did a 24-hour one right after we got home from Disney. I did a 72-hour water fast. I've also done a 72-hour dry fast even. Yes, I have. Yeah, I mean, the results are great. I mean, I didn't necessarily see anything that was just like spontaneous right after it happened that made me recognize anything, but I just believe it worked, and it does work. And I try to intermittent fast actually with just water from like anything after 7 or 8 o'clock at night until 10 o'clock the next morning, actually, Jeremy. So I'm a big believer in fasting. And what I'm going to incorporate in 2017 is once a month to fast for 24 hours, and then once a quarter to actually fast for 3 days, like a water fast or a juice fast or a water and Cali tea fast. I just believe those times of fasting are important. And then I love following the intermittent fasting, which is I really try to be done eating by 7, 8 o'clock at the latest, and I really don't like to eat anything before 10, if not 11 a.m. the next morning. So that I try to get 15 hours a day of my body being totally freed up to focus on any areas of healing, restoration. It's not having to work at all to digest, because you can't digest and heal at the same time. That was a key thought that was given to me by my health coach, Steve Factor, that really helped me on this healing journey. Okay, Dr. Morse has some great books. That's great, Bonnie. Bonnie, can you maybe find Dr. Morse's membership club website? It's like $10 a year. Bonnie, could you post that link for everyone? Or maybe you could get one of his YouTube videos where he talks about food, like everything you need to know about food, Dr. Morse, and maybe post that YouTube link on here for me, Bonnie. That would be awesome if you could. Okay, Dixie says, you should read Uninvited by Lysa TerKeurst. Lived when you feel less than left out and lonely. Sounds good, Dixie. Put a link or a picture or something. I'll check that out. I'd love to. What is a water fast? It's just basically where you don't intake anything other than clean water for a period of time. What was your opinion results of Dr. Morse's 14-day herbal detox? I thought I got great results. Alicia actually did a 14-week protocol of his herbs and tinctures. In fact, there's even a few of his things that I'm still taking, and Caroline would know the specifics on them. Huge fan of Dr. Morse. He is a great teacher of the power of fruit, and he's really good at helping you get on herbs and tinctures for a period of time to regenerate your organs and make sure you have healthy organs, which is a huge, huge deal. So, yes. Faribo says, do you eat fruits? I'm sorry for laughing. You must be new to my journey. Yes, I eat a ton of fruits every single day. I eat an 80% high fruit diet. Some days I eat 2 pineapples, 8 bananas, half a watermelon, strawberries, grapes, and some oranges. I eat tons and tons of fruit. I love fruit. Fruit's a big deal. I was even talking about fruit earlier in this video and how we ate a ton of that while we were traveling last week to Disney. Where are most of your supplements purchased from? Again, Robin, it's so funny you're asking that because Caroline and I are in the process of organizing all the supplements that I'm on, and we're working on our website to get that up and running. And one of the first things we want to do is have a hub where people can easily learn of the things that we're using that worked and where they can also get them from too if they want to. So that's coming very soon. Thanks for your patience. We're trying hard, but as you can imagine, we've had a crazy 14, 15-month journey. Being public is amazing, but can be a little overwhelming at times. We want to celebrate with our family as much as possible this month, but we are literally working on 2 projects that we're going to finish this week, and the website's going to be a little bit better by Christmas, and then it's going to get a whole lot better in January, and I promise you this stuff is coming. We are going to be a resource. We are going to have our content organized. We are going to do our best to keep it simple. We really want to make a difference in the world. We want to help people, and we know how to do that, and that is you got to have it in a way that people can easily digest the information, easily find what they need, and so just trust us over the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years and beyond. We just have a heart to put all that together, and we're going to do the best we can. We're just humans. We're not God. We don't have all the answers. We can't save anyone, but I hope and think we can make a difference. So anyway. Do you find that your doctors are recommending diets without meats, or are they still recommending modern medicine pills? Jeremy, I don't really discuss my diet with doctors. That answers that. Would you post your protocols online for people in need? Absolutely, Maya. I already have. If you will do a search on Facebook, you go on Facebook, type in my name, and type in protocol, and it should come up. Let me know if you don't find it, and you could inbox me your email address, and I would be happy to email it if you can't find it. But do a search, and you can find all kinds of posts of mine by, just typing in my name and then typing in a keyword, fruit, protocol, IVs, Mexico, whatever you want, and you can find a lot of my old posts. So, anyway, Maya, see if you can find that post that I shared a PDF of my protocols. If not, inbox me and send me your email address. Fruit does not feed cancer. It heals you of cancer. I'm living proof of that. Love you too, Robin. Hello from Belize. Hey, how are you, Catherine? Awesome. Well, guys, I think that wraps up Wisdom from the Recliner, Volume 45. This is Ryan Lelf. Hope you enjoyed tonight. Everyone, have a wonderful week. And if I'm not on here again, which I probably will be before, but if I don't get a chance to say it to you, I genuinely mean this. Merry Christmas to you and your family. Love, grace, peace. Be well. And know that you are loved. Seek freedom. And find a path that allows you to have joy and happiness and everything you desire in the midst of messiness, brokenness, tough circumstances, and a fallen world. God is with you. He is for you. He's not holding your sinning against you. Have a great night, everyone. We'll talk to you later.